What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin.
And we have an album review for you, and we are kicking off the week of the 31st with violent fashion, because one that I've been waiting to go over, and I've been patiently waiting because it seems like it's been a while since their last album, was the newest offering from Rotten Sound, Apocalypse. This again comes out on the 31st of March on Season and Mist Records. This band formed in 1993 in Finland. I've been a fan since the album Exit. That one blew my mind, much like the cover blew that gentleman's mind. This is their 8th full-length overall. It's been 7 years since Abuse to Suffer, and actually 5 years since the EP that followed that one up, Suffer to Abuse. So they've been quiet for a little while. And actually, I looked at it, and this is their shortest full-length yet. This is not even 21 minutes of just ferocious HM2 propelled grindcore. And yeah, of course I fucking love it. I mean, I'm gonna telegraph that fucking punch, and the punches come fucking quick, because reviewing grindcore, how much fun is that?
Oh man, super intense. It's almost impossible to review grindcore. I mean, we did it.
We did it.
And we've done it before. But I mean, there's almost not enough time to breathe in between everything. Just like, new, oh god,
It's like, need you to pause after the first track. Fuck, I listened to 3 accidentally!
Yep, yeah, right. If I wasn't paying attention, there'd be no way of knowing really what song it was on.
And, I mean, in grindcore fashion, these are short, abrupt, violent songs. There are 18 tracks on here, and again, under 21 minutes. So, yeah, you can imagine how short some of these tracks are. In fact, there is not a single track on here that reaches the 2-minute mark. And there are 7 on here that don't even reach the 1-minute mark.
True and false is 19 seconds. Blah, done.
You don't have any time to figure out whether anything was true or false in that song, because it just punches you in the throat and moves on to the next one.
True?
Maybe? I don't know. Either way, it fucking hurt. And, man, this album is fucking intense. Now, yeah, and I get it. Kind of baseline for Rotten Sound, yeah, they're fucking intense. But I feel like this is one of their most intense offerings yet.
Yeah, intense, definitely mean sounding. When we say HM2, blah, there it is. It is grimy and filthy and nasty and crusty and just plain mean. Like meaner than they have been maybe ever.
Oh man, I don't know. Like they're always mean, and they're always pretty fucking crusty. But again, there's something about this album, the way it is paced, the way it is just sort of compiled here. Like this barely gives you any room to breathe, but when it does give you room to breathe, it catches you in like giant fucking grooves. Like the song Sharing, which has a gloriously heavy death metal sort of breakdown on there. And this is not like death grind at all. This is pure grind. Like there's not a lot of wild experimentation like you would hear on like later Napalm Death or Pig Destroyer or Wormrot.
Yeah.
This is just vicious and in your face at all times. But again, they do squeeze in pockets of groove and moments where the riffs slow down from the just ferocious assaults on the guitars that are just going all at times. Namely, Denialist is a great example of that. Because surprisingly, it opens slow. And that isn't like, oh, it's just slow for grindcore. That means it's like a crusty D beat. No, it opens almost like a Death Doom song.
Digital Bliss does kind of the same thing, although I don't think it's as heavy as Denialist is. But it's also got some slight groovy pockets in it and some melody in the riffs and just something to set it apart from the other 17 songs that kick you in the nuts.
And I mean, that is pretty much to be expected from Rotten Sound and, you know, from grindcore to a degree. Like, this band has been pretty much carrying that Nawesome flag into battle for years now, and doing it in fantastic fashion. In fact, their frontman actually was on the last tour for Nawesome as their tribute and pretty much kind of wrapping up the band's career, and they could not have picked a more perfect guy. His vocals on here are ferocious. I don't even know how he can squeeze in that many words so quickly.
Well, and that's my thing. With songs as short as, say, 19 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever, you know, you figure, like, magicians train themselves to hold their breath for 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 minutes. So, like, maybe it's altogether possible that he's not taking a breath and he's just out there screaming his fucking dick off. And, I mean, you know.
Grindcore cardio.
Yep. That's actually my guess.
When this album isn't blasting at fucking Mach 10, there are a lot of cool, like, just big D-beat sections. Lots of punk riffs on here, especially on Empowered. Empowered has, like, a flat-out old-school sort of crust riff to it, but, of course, thickened up with that disgusting HM2 tone, which, again, when this album does slow down and you feel the full force of a single chord ringing out, it is flat out massive. And there's a lot of low end, too. Like, there's big, punchy bass behind this. In fact, I would say the production here is fucking awesome. And I can imagine producing grindcore has got to be a challenge.
Especially since you don't have much to work with audio-wise. Like, obviously, you know, you're going to set your tones and whatnot before you start playing, but, like, it's such a fury, such a punch to the face, just 1-2 knockout all the time. Producing something like that and keeping everything, like, together but separate sound-wise would be a real challenge, but they do a really good job. Like, the drums sit in this nice little pocket. They're out front, but they're not overpowering. The vocals kind of sit right evenly in the mix where they need to be. Like, he's definitely not overpowering anything. And then those crunchy, nasty guitars and the bass, everything just sits really nicely, which you'd think would be, again, really difficult to do, but they did it.
Well, considering the lack of empty spaces on here, like, you have a couple of moments where it's just like feedback or like a sort of quick drum and bass intro, or maybe the long scream that's at the end of Digital Bliss.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he holds on to that for a while. In fact, I think that long scream might be longer than one of the songs on here. But that lack of space and sort of just no bullshit sort of mentality, I think makes this album super strong. Like, you do have elements where, like, you get a little bit of, you know, feedback to lead in, or like a cool drum fill or a drum and bass bit or a quick shout, but nothing hangs out long enough to really get in the way of the sort of, like, I don't know, steamroller moving at like 90 miles an hour, which sounds grossly fucking unsafe, completely negligible on the part of the construction company, but I kind of want to see it now. There's probably videos on YouTube.
Now, one really cool thing about this is that it still has room for riffs. Like, in almost every song, except the super, super short ones, almost every song has some catchy riffs to latch on to. Fight Back, Apocalypse, Inflation, Empowered, Ownership, all these songs have a bunch of groovy pockets in them. Especially the song Empowered, there's probably like 15 different riff changes in there, and even though it's only a minute long, there's still a whole lot to latch on to. Like, there's not a time where it's so fast and so chaotic that you just don't know what the fuck's going on. They still find a way to pack maximum amounts of riffs in every fucking song.
Yeah, and I really like the hardcore touches, especially at the end of that song. Like, you have this kind of off-time hardcore rhythm. And, like, punk and, like, crust punk kind of aside, like, there's a good amount of hardcore on here where it just kind of breaks into a hardcore stomp. Because, again, like, the pace of this album is ridiculously fast, but it's really cool to hear these quick changes. And, you know, when it comes down to, like, different ways that they can sort of, like, pepper in a different element into a minute-long fucking grind fest, it's kind of cool to actually hear them do some different stuff. Like, again, like hardcore, and hearing like a Death Doom breakdown again on Denialist was just sort of wild. Really kind of threw us off. Like, dude, that's just fucking straight murk.
Yep.
But that one actually has kind of a cool slow build dynamic. Like, it starts off that way, and then it slowly builds into like a faster D beat, and then boom, we're fucking blasting off. And I don't know, someone probably threw a chair someplace. I would figure if anyone heard this album, like, the natural reaction is violence.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I respect Nick and his house. I'm not going to throw his chairs, but I wanted to throw his chairs and a table and some Diet Coke bottles and, I wanted to.
Start small with the Diet Coke bottles.
I did. I started. It was empty.
Yeah.
But,
work your way up to a
start
chair.
Small. But I mean, it's impossible to not be aggressive when you listen to this. It's just non-stop to the face.
And that's the thing I absolutely love. Like, this was stripped down to, like, there's zero fucking fat on this.
None.
And again, it moves at such a pace, and it keeps your adrenaline spiked. Like, this will raise your fucking blood pressure. It has that much vitriol and fucking anger in it. And actually, reading some of the lyrics too, like, these guys hate fucking billionaires, and I totally get it. Like, there's a lot of socio-political stuff. They definitely follow the path of one Professor Barney for damn sure, like, in terms of his outlook on life and just the different issues and such they bring up on here, and put up with such fucking contempt for their targets. And again, that just moves into the music. Like, the music is as intense as the lyrical subject matter, and it's one of the things I like about grind is, when you talk about shit in a grind song, generally you're pretty serious about it. Unless you're like, gore grind, then I really, really hope you're not serious about it. Porno grind, get the fuck out of here. You better be fucking joking. So yeah, overall, this was such a high energy, nasty fucking listen. Pretty much exactly what I expected, but I don't know, like possibly a little bit more, despite there being decidedly less album than there has been before.
Sure.
I just feel like everything was just dimed on here. Like there was so much contempt. Maybe over these last 7 years or 5 years since the EP, they were just sort of, welling up just rage in their fucking bodies and they had to fucking get it out. And, well, I think they fucking did it because none of these songs feel like incomplete either. They all feel like complete violent thoughts. And this album, well, granted, it's as long as like one Dream Theater track, but Dream Theater would never have this sort of energy at all. I mean, yeah, they could play, their cool stuff, but it's not this.
No.
Overall, I gotta give this 4 stars. Bordering on a 4.5, but I want to hold it 4 for now. I love this band. I honestly don't think they have a bad album. I've been a fanboy for a while, but this album just kind of hits a little bit differently and a little bit more violently. Like, I feel like I just started an action scene with, like, Donnie Yen, and he just punched me 8 times before I even thought about punching him. This is so damn violent and so just honed. Like, it is down to the bare elements. Again, not flashy. This is just straightforward, violent grindcore moving at Mach 10, and I love it. Like, you can really feel the energy in here. The songwriting is as good as you'd expect from Rotten Sound. These guys just know how to write killer fucking grind. If you are a diehard Nasum fan, Napalm Death, Pig Destroyer, if you love grind and you love violent, fast music, oh my god, get this. And even if you hate it, it won't last that long if you listen to the whole thing. You'll be fine.
I gotta be honest, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. There's not a damn thing wrong with this record. From the very start to the very finish, even though it's only 20 minutes and some change, it's a non-stop 1-2 punch. And one of the cool things about this record is that it really flows really well. Like, granted, there are a handful of songs that are just balls out in your face. There's no guts, no glory. That's all it is. And even the 19-second song, albeit short, still packs a punch. But I like that they incorporate both non-stop balls-to-the-wall material and some groove, and some riffs, and some things to keep it entertaining. There's no filler, there's no bullshit, it's just straight, violent, in-your-face, fuck you grind. And that's how it should be. I've been a fan of these guys for a while, and much like Nick said, if you're just a fan of grind in general, like, this is 100% the way to do it, and it's a very engaging, entertaining listen. I don't have anything bad to say about it, like at all, other than the fact that it is a gigantic pain in the balls to write notes to because it goes so quickly. That's my only gripe. The production's sweet, the tone is just filthy, disgusting. You're gonna get knocked out before you even know what hit you, so 4.5 for me. Fucking banger of an album.
One could say they have grind down to a science, which is actually track 15 on here. Science.
Yes, science. There's definitely a science here.
Yes. Brutality. But yeah, this was a lot of fucking fun to jam, and I love grind. And I think I can just cap it off there. But also, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below at thrallsmetal.com. We will be reloading on stuff in our store at thrallsmetal.com, but that won't be until after Denver Death Fest.
Yep, Denver Death Fest, April 20th through the 22nd in Denver, Colorado. Now's the time to get your tickets. You can still get a 3-day pass for $65. If you wait till day of show, it's $35 a piece. Don't do that. Don't wait. Get them in advance. We got what, I think 3 weeks before we leave. It's creeping. We got some amazing bands. There's some awesome people involved with this. We're going to be there hanging out all 3 days. Come out, bang your head, have a beer, smoke a joint, do all those wonderful things you can do in Denver that you can't do anywhere else. But yeah, join us for some metal. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to our vendors. Thank you to everyone that's made this possible. We can't be thankful enough. But yeah, Denver Death Fest. Be there. Or be somewhere else. But be there. Because I said so.
And, of course, thank you all for liking, subscribing, following. Again, it means the world to us. And this is the part where I say the same shit, but I mean the same shit. You guys are fucking awesome. I will be gone for next week. I'm going to go on a little family vacay. Probably going to come back with a whole bunch of shit to go over in collection updates. But while I'm gone, Jammin, John, Miller, and Tread will probably take over on reviews. And I think we have some other stuff.
Yeah, got some interviews, some pre-Denver Death Fest promo Who wants to see an interview with Dallas Toller Wade? We got to do that. It was super fun. I got to interview Pyrexia. We've got a bunch of stuff coming up later this week as far as interviews are concerned. So expect to see all that content coming out, along with some reviews and probably some other shit we're doing. I don't know. But we got your back here while you're away. And then while he goes away, I get to go to his mom's and play with the dogs for a week. I'm stoked about that too. So, yeah.
But yeah, thank you all once again, and we will catch you later.